Welcome, dear listener, to the Secrets for a Happy Life podcast, born from my desire to share the knowledge I've acquired on leading a better life, interwoven with diverse experiences from my travels, years of studying psychology, and life lessons. I'm Petra Kmetec-Bitenc, your guide on this journey on rediscovering joy, productivity, and the essence of living a fulfilled life. Nice to see you. Hello.
To see you as well. Do tell us about the concert.
Yeah, I was on Metallica yesterday, so I'm not a huge fan, but we saw the people walking around with Metallica t-shirts, and I was like, do they have a concert or what? And my husband went searching, and he said, yeah, they have concert tomorrow, so let's go. And we went, and it was nice. They are still really good.
That's interesting. And I think it kind of plays well into our topic today, because these guys have been successful in what they do for quite a few years.
I've been checking. They are on. I think they started in 1981.
Wow,
that's 40 years more. They're still rocking it. Yeah. So.
Okay, so. Completely, out of nowhere the question, but what do you think makes them be so successful for so long?
Oh, that's hard to answer from their perspective. I can only say what I think is just keep it going and just doing whatever they like to do. They really love to play, and they love to create music, and they love to perform. And I think this is something that when we want to do something and we have focus on what we are doing, when we are enjoying in the process, not only in achieving goals, and that we are really dedicated, or let's say married to this, to our business or our projects, then we can succeed. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I love that. And I think, just believing in what you do and loving what you do. And yeah, some people would argue, well, there are all these new people coming up, and how would you maintain that kind of status? But they probably don't even ask themselves that question. They just do what they love. They've been good at it for a long time, and with dedication, with passion. But I think there is this element of also not becoming complacent. Yes, you are good at it, but I'm sure they still get together and they rehearse quite a bit, and they put a lot of effort into showing up at that really consistent level.
So I would like to just tell our viewers why we chose this topic, because last week our energy was really low, but we showed up. We were here like every Monday. And I think when we were talking later after the IG Live about that, we said this is the pillar of success, that you show up even when you don't feel like you have this energy, all these good elements of your everyday. And you just show up, and you are here, and you are consistent, and you don't give up. And I think this is the trait that makes people successful in the end. Because when you go and go for it, even when you have this not a good day, let's say, then you can slowly come to your goals, to your end goal, whatever it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's very true. And sometimes when we look at people that we consider successful, we almost think that somehow they have it easy, and that's why they are where they are. But it's not that. Life happens, right? We all go through different periods, different challenges, and we don't always put it out there, One of the recent Insta lives, I was having a very bad day, and I thought, I'm not sure I can show up and actually have this conversation, but I put everything aside. I showed up. I had a lovely conversation with you, and then I went and I had my little cry in the other room, and then I went back to doing whatever I was doing. So yeah, everyone has challenges, but it's about deciding whether you're gonna let those challenges get on your way, or you will still prioritize what you're doing. And I'm not talking about suppressing the feelings. If you are sad, if you are grieving, or whatever is happening in your life, I do always encourage you to make space for that. But at the same time, try and not let it overwhelm you.
Yeah. I like to use those 5 minute or 10 minute where you output your feelings just to overflow you, and you just let it be. So if you are sad, then just go and cry. If you are angry, go and punch some pillows or something, or go for a run, but put a timer to it. So it's 10 minutes or 5 minutes or 2 minutes, whatever you need. And then when the timer goes off, then okay, now I put this out, and now I can go back to do whatever I wanted to do. And when we are talking about success, I think when we start doing some project, or whatever success means to you, what is the end goal, if you know that there will be hard days, if you anticipate the hard days, then when those hard days, when those rock bottoms come, you kind of can remind yourself, okay, I knew I'm gonna be here, and this is just one step that I can overcome to where I want to be. But if you are thinking that this path you want to go, it's gonna be full of roses and rainbows, then when those hard days come, then maybe you will say, okay, this is not for me. I didn't anticipate this. This is too hard. This is not okay, because I shouldn't be suffering, or I shouldn't be having these bad thoughts or feelings. I think we all have those dark thoughts, like, why am I doing this? Like, why? And do you have maybe those dark thoughts also? Because I do.
Totally. And why is exactly the question. I think, while we ask ourselves that question, what helps is also to ask it as a reminder of why are you actually doing it? And the answer would be because it is very important for you. And then why is it important to you? And you go as many levels deep as you need to with your why. And then you remind yourself that you are going through all the challenges and the hardships because the why essentially is so important to you, and you are ready to climb those mountains and overcome the obstacles to get to where you want to get to, because it is so important to you. And I think why is crucial to keep you going, and understanding also that it's not that everyone else's path is just showered with roses and you are the poor person having to climb through the mud. No, everyone is encountering certain challenges and obstacles along the way. It's just some people prefer not to talk about it or make it look like it's been, just really nice and easy, which I don't think it ever is for anyone if you look at the story of any successful person.
No, it's not. And you can also think about it when you are on a hike and you have to go from point A to point B. You will come to the point when you feel exhausted, when you feel that you don't have strength anymore, and then you just take a little bit break, and then you go on, because there is no other way. And I think if we would look at our business or our careers the same way, okay, I am on point A, now I need to go to the point B, and it's okay if I take a bit rest. It's okay if I learn something more along the way, if I reach out for help, if I ask somebody how they did it. And just go slowly. And if you know that there is no other way, that you need to go to point B, then you will come to point B. But if you have all those excuses like, okay, I can do this, I can do that, like, when you are dating and you have like 50 guys around you and you don't know who to choose, and then you think, okay, maybe this one will be okay, and then something is not good, and then you just think of that one, oh, but maybe that one would be better, and then you're just jumping around, or maybe looking at dresses, I don't know. It's a little bit better metaphor. But when you decide for something and you stick to it, then it's easier, because all those distractions around you, all those opportunities that are here and they are every day is something that is maybe more appealing, or doing something, I don't know, on a different path. I think when you stick to one stuff and you think about it, you're conscious about it, and you're also honest about it. Like, is this the right path that I'm on, or is this not? It's not something that is right for me. Then you will reach the end.
Yeah, and something coming up for me now, following from what you were saying, and I'd love to hear if you agree with me, is I think it's important to sometimes just be okay with saying, well, that was a mistake, and rather than trying to keep going and making it work, it's just saying, no, okay, that didn't work, and actually, like, write it off from my, putting my accounting hat back on. It's like you write off the sunk cost. That's already, you incurred the cost. You can't recover it, but I don't want to keep dragging it on if I already know that's not going to work out. And that's true for relationships as well as perhaps career decisions or business decisions. If you're trying a certain direction and then you're like, well, I don't think it's going the way I wanted it to go, I believe it's important to cut that cord as soon as possible, and then you move in a different direction. Instead, sometimes people feel too invested and thinking, well, I already spent 2 years on this project, maybe I can still make it work, or I've been in this relationship for 5 years, maybe tomorrow he will change. Well, maybe he will not if he hasn't in 5 years and he doesn't show any signs of being interested in making any change. So I'm a big supporter of this now, and it came to me, I guess, through learning, because in my earlier life I would be like, if I start a book, even if it's boring, I would feel like I need to finish it, and now I'm like, no, I'm not wasting my time. And I think it does help in getting to where you want to. It's just saying no to everything that you at some point recognize is not getting you there, even if when you took it on you thought that it would.
Yeah, and also saying no to distractions, because I see that nowadays attention is really valued more than a gold, because people don't have attention anymore. And I see it also by myself. When I was a lot on social media, my attention just dropped and my focus dropped, and I couldn't focus on for I don't know, if I was writing something, after 10 minutes I was looking on my watch, and oh, how long do I do this? How long am I doing this already? Oh, 10 minutes. Come on. Yeah. What's wrong with you? But when I did this, I did one experiment for 1 month. I went off the grid with social media, and I did so many things in this period of time. And it's just amazing how much, if we put our focus to one thing, to the thing that we want to do, to the success that we want to achieve, we can really achieve it, but not if we're distracted with everything around us.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think we covered so much already. I almost want to take a small pause and just kind of wrap up what we've got to so far. So I think we had the laser focus on your goal. And with that also goes eliminating, as far as possible, all the distractions. So just figure out what you want, eliminate the distractions, remind yourself why you want this. Why is this important to you? And you want to go as deep as possible with that why, leading you to your core values. It's not like, well, I want more money because I can buy a brand new car. Well, why do you want that car? What does it give you? What is it going to make you feel or believe about you? That's kind of the level you want to get to. And then if you realize it's going to make me feel important, then do you really need the car, and will the car even give you that? Or maybe there are other ways to get that. So that's a whole different conversation. So I'm going back to laser focus, distractions, and remembering your why. And then we said about showing up. No matter what, you show up. And you don't think that the grass is greener on the other side. It's like, no, this is my path. This is where I want to go. And I think consistency. I missed anything that we've covered so far?
No, you told everything. Yeah, consistency is really a big part. And I would also like to explain when I talk about success that Kobe, not triangle, but when you have important things that are not urgent, important things, not important things that are urgent, and then if you just cover all the fires that are here and you want to put the fires out, then you are missing your big goal that is somewhere there, and maybe it looks too big. And if it looks too big, then just make smaller goals, put it a little bit on easier steps that you can achieve, and maybe you need 1 month for one step, and then you can congratulate yourself and reward yourself that you are still here, that you are still on this path, and then you are still going to this bigger goal that you have in mind. And rewards are important, very much.
I love that, and I find it, I see it a lot with the clients, that sometimes when we think about a goal that is so big, it almost scares us and we end up doing nothing. But when you break it down into bite-sized chunks, then it's like, okay, what can you actually do this month, and what can you do this week, and what can you do every single day? And when instead of this gigantic, huge, unsurmountable goal, you actually see, this is what I can do today, and I can do it, then it's much more likely that you are going to do it. And then linking a reward to it, as you're suggesting, makes it even easier, and you can almost create a game out of it. So, okay, I'm going to do it for 5 days, and then I'm going to insert whatever motivates you, you know.
Yeah, that's a good one. And I had something on my mind, and it just slipped. Let's
come back. What was coming to me as a sort of sequel of this conversation is around the instant gratification is something that our current society is all about. We want everything, and we want everything now. And unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. And again, it goes back to the discipline of showing up consistently, because you will not get rewards immediately. And I find myself in that situation, you know, when I changed the career and I decided this is what I'm going to do, I did have an illusion that everything's just gonna kind of magically fall into place and grow very fast and beautifully. And it hasn't been the case. And at some point I was very disappointed and frustrated. And then I took a step back and said, okay, maybe I am expecting something quite unrealistic, and maybe I just need to show up no matter what, whether 5 people respond to my or react to my post, if we have 0 viewers on our live, or we have 10 or 15, and that's fine. And it takes time and discipline to grow something. It takes 9 months for a baby to be born, you know. You can't do it in 9 weeks.
Even if you have 10 mothers, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that was I wanted to say before. When we have these big goals in our mind, maybe we don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
Because it's so big and you don't know how to get there, and you have like 5-10 different approaches that you can start, and none of those is really familiar to you. And if something is unfamiliar, then we do everything that is familiar and we just fill our time. I see it when I am doing something really new and I go into the territory that is really unfamiliar. Then I find myself doing small things like that. I need like 3 minutes, 5 minutes to do all those small tasks that I don't even have to do, but I do it because I feel I'm productive. And that big stuff that is waiting for me there is so big that I don't know where to start. So instead of figuring out what is the first step that I can do, that I can come a little bit closer, I do all the things that are familiar and that I know like this how to do it. So also this is something that we can think about, what is the first step? Yeah. And if this first step is not the right one, if it turns out that it's not the right one, what can be the next step that I can use? And that I enjoy in the end, yeah, doing it.
Yeah, Absolutely. And I think sometimes, yeah, as you said, it's the things that you've never done, right? Our mind doesn't like what's unfamiliar, so it will always try to get us back to what we know. That makes us feel better about ourselves. But in the end of the day, when you want to achieve something that you have not had before, you'll need to do things you haven't done before. And there is no other way. And actually, it's also good for your brain. You keep it young, you keep it alive by exposing it to new things and new activities. So it's just finding a way to almost trick your mind and negotiate with it, and just getting it to do things that are new by breaking it down in smaller steps, by introducing rewards, by all these things that we've discussed.
So we said consistency, focus, attention to details also, showing up no matter how you feel, and anticipating also the dark days, the tough days when we don't have energy or we just feel like nothing is moving. And those are all the traits that we have. What about the environment? You think the environment is also contributing to our success?
Oh, that's a great question. And before I answer that, I just had another thought relating to everything we spoke about before, but I think it's escaping me now. Yes, it's back. I think that's just a useful little tips that works for me. For example, some days I wake up and I feel like I can't get myself to do anything. And what helps me going, and I don't know if that's been your experience, I just need to start doing something. And it may be just the easiest thing. And I'll be like, okay, I'll just respond to that email, or I'll just do whatever it is, just find something small and easy to get myself behind the desk and start working. And then I look back, 3 hours in, I've done this and this and this. So it's just really getting into that motion sometimes helps me keep going. I don't know if that works for you, but I think, okay.
It doesn't work for me. I'm more for eat the frog first. So I like to start, even if I don't know what I'm gonna do, and just write in the comments below what is your experience, for everyone who is watching now. And I need to start with something bigger, because if I start with something bigger, then I can, my brain capacity, I think, in the morning is still quite okay, and I'm really productive. But later in the day, my attention and everything starts dropping a little bit, energy, and then I can do all those small things like replying to emails, having conversation with people. But in the morning, I like to start with something bigger, like writing a blog post or just writing something. And I like to use the Pomodoro method. So I put 50 minutes for doing something creative, like writing or reading or just doing some editing. But then later I have 10 minutes break, and then again 50 minutes and 10 minutes break and 50 minutes. And I think if I do like 4 cycles of this, then I do so many stuff that it's okay. I can go then around, see a little bit the town where I'm in, and it's okay, you know. So this is what helps me. But if I start with small things, then I get so invested in those small things that those 4 hours go by, and that big thing just stays somewhere on the paper or in my mind. Oh, I will do it tomorrow because now I don't have the energy anymore.
Okay, well, it's interesting that we have different approaches, and I think people who listen to us may want to try out and see what works best for them if they don't know yet.
Yeah, there's no formula. We are all unique, and what works for me doesn't have to work for you. So you have to figure it out for yourself. What is the best thing that you can do?
And now going back to your question around environment, I think, and I believe there's quite a lot of research around it, and that's why they say, you know, it's really, over time you become the 5 people you spend most time with, right? It does affect you so much. It does affect you way more in your first 7 years of your life, of course, when you're just developing as a human being. But even when we're grown up,
you don't have then you don't have the opportunity to change something. You're just there. So
exactly. There is also that, but also just the way, you're developing, you're just taking it in without any filter, right? You do, or you're supposed to develop the filter by the time you're an adult, and you do have the capacity to move yourself out of the environments if you're not happy with them. However, how many people do we all know who stay in those environments that they believe to be toxic, and yet they remain in them, in the workplaces where they are miserable, in the relationships where they are miserable, or sometimes those relationships are abusive, and people just stay there out of fear, out of familiarity again, and many, many different reasons. And I do believe that environment affects us so much, and the whole, conversation about even the genes are activated by our environment, right? It's not that that it's just the gene being passed on to you, but it's actually depending on the environment you're in, certain genes get activated or not. And I think that my biggest message would be here to recognize that environment is super important. And as an adult, you have the power to change your environment. So just be really mindful about who you're spending time with, because they are affecting you so much. And if you don't know how to get out of that environment, well, have a chat with one of us, and I'm sure we can help you out.
And also physical environments are really important. I saw when I moved from Slovenia to Dubai, everything just opened up for me. Like I didn't feel the pressure from like this small town that everybody's judging you, but in Dubai I think like everybody is expecting from you that you succeed, that you excel in what you do. And this was really pushing me forward. Like I can do more, I can show myself more. But in Slovenia, if I was showing myself up more, then they start talking, what does she think she is, And I think also this kind of environments, like in which city you are and in which country you are. And I had last time really good conversation with one of my American friends. And she said, if you are a winner, if you get up after every failure that you have, after every mistake. And I said, yeah, but in Europe, we look at this, if you have a mistake, if you do a mistake, then you're a loser. No matter if you wanna continue and just start over and do better. No, you failed in your business once, now you're a complete loser. You're no good and you cannot succeed in anything else. But that is not true. And this is just the mental approach that we have from one culture to the other culture. So I think it's good also to shake this a little bit and change it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe, it's you found ways that certain things don't work. So it's a learning, it's not a failure. And, just moving it into the sports realm, I was watching this video yesterday by, I think it was Roger Federer, one of those top tennis players. I don't know if you've seen the video where he talks about how being one of the top players in the world, and he won, I think, around 80 matches he ever played. But if you look at the actual scores, he was only winning about 54% of all the rallies, So it's, if you flip it on the other side, that means that how many mistakes he has made, right? And yeah, he has been one of the top players in the world. And I believe that translates into everything in life. And I think it's inevitable. You only don't make mistakes if you do nothing. But then what do you do with those mistakes? Do you beat yourself up every day and say, I'm a loser, I'm good for nothing? Or do you say, okay, I found another way that doesn't work and I'm not going to do that again? And if we're talking about mistakes in interpersonal relationships, that I think it's, and those happen also within your business because you are dealing with people. I think it's absolutely crucial to own your mistakes and to recognize them and say, yes, I screwed up. And this is maybe what I learned from it. And apologize where apology is due to the person who was affected by it or people. I think that is absolutely crucial to make the repair, to recognize where you were wrong. rather than adopting this arrogant approach and putting yourself above everyone. I think that makes mistakes absolutely normal and human, and that's how we learn.
Yeah, now we're on the emotional intelligence field. Maybe next time. This is crucial, I think. Owning your mistakes and everything. Also, not falling into the victim state and just accept. Okay, I'm good in this. Maybe I need help with that one, and I need to learn this more. And I'm capable. And also, it's really important that you believe in yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if you don't believe in yourself and you just think, okay, I need to do this to be successful, to that somebody will see me, that I will be acknowledged, and you don't believe in yourself, then you have a lot to work on.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think, a lot of these qualities and traits that we spoke about are so transferable. It's not specific to one activity, to one industry or business that you're doing. I think they span across different disciplines and different areas of your life even, because everything, even building a personal relationship, requires focus and discipline, because if you do not invest in your relationship, it's not going to sustain itself on your own, right? On its own. So I think that they are very much cross-discipline, if you like, and I think that's where we are going also with the developments in the world, with AI taking over the basic jobs. It's not so much now about the skills that you have in terms of doing certain jobs, but it's very much about all these qualities that we discussed today that you bring to the table, as well as that emotional intelligence, your communication skills, your ability to interact with other people in the way that makes them want to be working with you as well.
Yeah, I like AI because it takes away a lot of small tasks that I was doing before, and it's easier. But anyway, in the end, you need to put yourself into it. You need to show your energy. It's not, everything is not AI. I don't think so.
No. But I think, it's going to take out a lot of basic jobs where, for example, I did accounting for a year or two in my life, and a lot of it is pretty dull, if you ask me. And for some people it works well, but I think a lot of it also, if it's processing basic standard invoice, it does not require a human to sit in front of a screen for 8 hours a day. You scan them or upload, they're even scanned, they come already electronic format. It's super easy for AI to post debit credit. You don't need, and the human is, but then that human still needs to earn a living, so they need to have some other skills that they can bring into the world.
Maybe they can start thinking.
That's why I think the world is shifting to a very different skill set that is required, because we're moving away from very much of a manual labor where people used to do a lot of things with their hands and processing it. Now that's been taken over, and it's great in many ways, but it also requires some people to really up their game.
Any last thoughts about success?
Well, I think just really, again, I want to leave people with the idea of focusing on showing up, on the discipline, and on the fact that even if you may not see the progress that you expected to see in whatever period of time, I would say don't give up. Just really, if you remember why you're doing it, sometimes the progress, and most of the times the progress is not linear. It may look like you're going up, then you go straight, or sometimes you go down a little bit before you go up again. And I see it in businesses, I see it in sports, I see it in personal relationships. So I think it's just, we wanted to see like this. We think, for example, if I train every week, my game should be going up, but it's not. Sometimes it goes a bit up, and it's like, I'm not improving. Well, keep going. Then one day you're like, and you're on another level. Yeah. So just focus, dedication, motivation and discipline.
Yeah, discipline is a huge one. And also have this focus even when it's hard, because hard days are coming, and also when those little things that you have to do are dull. Because sometimes there are boring stuff that we need to do, that we need to learn, is just part of the business, is just part of the game that we are in. And avoiding those boring things just to be exciting and new and really good is also not a good way. So embracing all the aspects.
Okay, well, thank you. I did really enjoy this conversation today.
Yeah, me too. So what is your next big plan, like big goal that you want to achieve? I think also accountability to somebody. You don't have to tell it now.
I started getting worried.
is a big part. So if you have somebody that you work together, or it doesn't have to be in the same field, but like, for example, if you look at the research, the people who go together to the gym, they are more consistent to go to the gym, because they keep, when one of them have a bad day, the other one says, come on, let's go, let's show up. And they pull themselves like forward, sometimes one, sometimes the other. And I think this is easier than to show up when you have somebody that is not dragging you along, because this is not the way to do it, but just to remind you, okay, this is important. We are here together and we can do that together. And it's easier.
See, it's interesting because this is another one where we are different. I know that this statistically makes a lot of sense, and a lot of people like that kind of having an accountability body and all of that. It has never been my way. I'm very, like, if I'm up to something, I do it. I don't really need anyone. But then sometimes I need to remind myself that other people could benefit from it, especially when I work with people. I need to keep them accountable to what they set up to do. But for me, I'm like, no, it's okay. If I decided I'm going to do the gym, I'm going to do the gym no matter what.
Okay, gym is different. But like last week, if I wouldn't have you on the other side, I wouldn't show up.
Yeah, okay.
Because I was really in a low energy and I had really brain fog and I didn't know what to talk about. So I wouldn't show up, but because you were there and I said, okay, let's do it. We are in this together. We will manage somehow. And yeah, we both showed up. So
yeah, it was probably not our best, but it wasn't bad.
We were there.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah. So thank you for that.
Thank you as well, Petra. It was lovely, and I think we did have more energy today, both of us, which kind of did show. And thank you everyone for watching us. Well, enjoy Madrid.
Thank you.
And
have a great day.
Next week.
Yeah.
Have a good week.
Bye bye.